Eagles versus Chiefs, Arthur. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Why, yes, I agree. The Chiefs will win. We've got a Super Bowl preview, but first, we're breaking down the New Orleans Saints coaching search. I'm Ruddy Rutledge, and this here is some Bayou football. Sup? Welcome all to the Bayou Football Video Podcast. I am Ruddy Rutledge, and he is the main character, Arthur the Bayou Party Dog. LSU football is in a bit of a lull right now. Been a few recruiting developments, but nothing earth-shattering. Kim Mulkey's Lady Tiger basketball team is very good, but they still can't handle South Carolina. And then there's Matt McMahon's men's team, which remains the boil on the ass of the LSU athletic department. But good news, Tiger fans. The loaded number 2 ranked Tiger baseball team will open its season next Friday, February the 14th. And even though this is some Bayou football, we're going to be covering Tiger baseball this season. Ought to be a fun year. As for football on the Bayou, the city of New Orleans is front and center of the football universe this week. As most of you know, is Super Bowl week in the Big Easy for the 11th time. But in addition to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, the host team, the New Orleans Saints, is also a big topic of discussion. The Black and Gold is the only remaining team in the NFL without a head coach. But it looks as though that will change shortly after the big game this Sunday. According to multiple reports, the Saints are waiting, in accordance with league rules, for Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to officially wrap up his duties for Philly on Sunday in the Super Bowl. Moore is reportedly the front runner for the job, but with the way coaching hires work out sometimes in the NFL these days, I wouldn't count on anything until someone is in the Saints office at their headquarters on Airline Drive, actively performing their duties as New Orleans Saints head coach. According to Adam Schefter, on a Monday appearance on the Pat McAfee Show, Moore will be the Saints coach, barring a setback. Of course, Schefter made this statement just as the Saints' archdiocese story was breaking. Now, I'm not going into details on that story. Y'all can get details elsewhere. They're everywhere. But now we do have to ask the question. In Kellen Moore's eyes, does a setback equate to having to answer repeated questions from the media that connect his new employers, the Saints, with priests and little kids? Does that qualify as a setback? I guess we'll find out. Monday can't get here soon enough. Arthur had to take his mid-show beer break a little bit early. He will be back. But back to the Saints. It appears that New Orleans has whiffed on several of their top choices throughout this search. Top choice Aaron Glenn chose the Jets, as dysfunctional as that franchise is, over the Saints. And despite the fact that the Saints' head job is one of only 32 NFL head coaching jobs in the world, Buffalo offensive coordinator Joe Brady and Washington OC Cliff Kingsbury said no thanks and chose to remain assistants rather than come here to be head coach. Something about coaching Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels for the next year for another season probably helped expedite their decisions. And that's fine with me. Kingsbury's proven multiple times over he's a lousy head coach. But still, all these optics tell us this is not a desirable job. And you might ask, why? Why isn't this a desirable job? It can't just be the quarterback room. I mean, a new coach could conceivably come in and transform that situation overnight via trade or draft pick or both. So why isn't this a desirable job? Well, the short answer, in my opinion, is Mickey Loomis. The Saints general manager has this team in salary cap hell. He has a roster of old, washed-up vets, many of whom are way past their prime. And on top of it all, Loomis seems to be in total denial about the situation. When you watch him give an interview, he appears almost apathetic. We'll be okay. No accountability. He knows his job is safe no matter what. It shouldn't be that way. So we really need to keep the possibility in mind, no matter how small, that Moore meets with the Saints on Monday, doesn't like something he hears, gets back on a plane to Philly, and does not accept the job. It's certainly possible. I know who does want it, though. Interim head coach Darren Rizzi. But let's go back to Moore for a second. We're asking why he would want to take this job, and the main reasons are obviously because of more money and because it's an NFL head coaching job and there aren't that many of them. But on the flip side, we also need to explore the question of why do the Saints want Kellen Moore? Why is he the target? I understand you're running out of options if you're Loomis, but why Moore specifically? The easy answer to me is his resume as an offensive coordinator. He's put together successful offenses for 3 different NFL franchises, the Cowboys, the Chargers, and now the Eagles. But like every other coordinator who's never been a head coach before, we know absolutely nothing about his ability to lead men. Running an offense or running a defense is hardly the same thing as leading a team of grown adult men into fierce competition. The Saints' last coach was pretty good at running a defense. But as we all know, he did not have the personality nor the leadership skills to commandeer a complete NFL squad with all the personalities and egos that go with it. So how do we know Moore is any different from Dennis Allen in that regard? We don't. It's a risk. He's never been a head coach. That risk goes with the territory of hiring a first-time head coach. We don't know. Now, I do like the fact that Kellen Moore has no ties to the Saints. They're not still trying to rekindle some of that old Sean Payton vibe. That era is over. Let's move past it. Moore has been the most successful in his current gig with the Eagles. But let's be honest, he has an embarrassment of riches in Philly. Now, I hope he utilizes that embarrassment of riches on Sunday and takes down the Chiefs. But it's hard to field a bad offense when you have Saquon Barkley, who might be the best player in the NFL right now, along with Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and the best offensive line in all of football. I would think most capable OCs would be able to do something with that group. But if he gets this job, the Saints job, Saints fans need to be patient, at first at least, because we don't have anything like the Eagles group here, talent-wise. The talent drop-off will be substantial, and as a result, so will the drop-off in Moore's production. But let's shift gears here. And let's say the Moore deal does not go through and he declines the offer. At that point, I would much rather the Saints just hire Darren Rizzi instead of going after Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka or Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, who are reportedly next in line. No thanks, Mickey. Besides, we know Rizzi wants the job, and we know he is a leader. May not be cut out to be a head coach. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But we know he commands the respect of the players. He's an alpha personality. Now, I've seen some chatter from Saints fans on social media advocating for New Orleans to just skip all this nonsense and go get Jon Gruden. He's accomplished more than any of the current candidates that are left, and he does know what he's doing. He's won a Super Bowl. Yes, that's true. But remember, Gruden is hated by Roger Goodell and the league front office right now. And if any fan base knows what it's like to be repeatedly targeted by Commissioner Fuckknuckle, it's the Saints. This franchise endured years upon years of screwed up officiating to the point where Peyton finally had enough and left. But Peyton and Drew Brees continuously took verbal shots at Goodell after the Bountygate punishment, and Goodell's referees continuously gave it right back to the Saints on the field for years. We don't want that again, do we? So, nay to John Gruden. The Saints' next head coach should be one of two people, Kellen Moore or Darren Rizzi. And the wheels need to be set in motion on one of those two guys first thing Monday morning. Super Bowl in the Superdome. Chiefs versus Eagles. Two best teams in the league. For Kansas City, you have the face of the NFL in Patrick Mahomes. And for Philly, you have the league's hottest player right now in running back Saquon Barkley. Make no mistake, Buffalo is an exceptional football team, but this Philadelphia squad will be Kansas City's toughest test in their current 3-year run through the playoffs. The Eagles have a dominant offensive line, as stated earlier, and they're loaded with offensive skill players. They have an unstoppable short yardage play in the tush push. And oh yeah, they have an outstanding defense. So Philly, like Kansas City, is loaded on both sides of the ball. No glaring weaknesses. Blah, blah, blah. I can't do this anymore. I'm sitting here giving you the same boring-ass Super Bowl preview that I've been hearing myself all week. So, I'm fixing to take this segment in an entirely different direction. Let's cut straight to the chase, shall we? Let's get to the juicy stuff. Let's ditch this repetitive narrative you're going to hear over and over till 5:30 on Sunday afternoon and the game starts. And let's get to the sizzle, right to it. Every NFL fan has an opinion on this issue, and that is whether or not the league, the NFL, gives unfair preferential treatment to the Kansas City Chiefs through biased officiating. Of course they do! Of course they do! Especially with the biggest music star in the world practically on their team. Just put her ass on the roster already. She might as well be on the active 53 man. The NFL wants Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl every year if possible. And they will continue to use their referees to help make it happen every chance they get. All you have to do is watch the freaking games. The bigger the stakes, the more obvious it is. It's obvious for the world to see. And they, Goodell and the NFL, do not care about the backlash. Well, they're not going to get any backlash from the mainstream media, but they don't care about backlash from fans or podcasters or YouTubers. Every year around this time, Roger Goodell has a press conference after some poor team has just been screwed 6 ways from Tuesday in a conference championship game. And every year, Commissioner Fuckknuckle looks the reporters, the few that have the balls to ask the questions, right into their eyes. He looks them right in their eyes and proceeds to tell those reporters with a straight face, without batting an eye, "The state of our officiating has never been better. We've never been more proud of our officiating than we are right now at this very moment." Every year, same line. Just did it again the other day. I'm paraphrasing, but that's his message. It kind of reminds me of that line from the book 1984 by George Orwell. "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command." And these screwy calls, they don't just occur in the championship games or the playoff games. No, the Chiefs get these calls, bad calls, wrong calls, in their favor all season long, week in and week out. It happens so often, you watch it enough and it'll have you questioning your own existence. Like, did I just see that? Did that really just happen? Again? Again? All you got to do is watch the games. It's right there every week. And yes, I've seen the stats, mostly Chiefs fans posting stats showing how the Chiefs get the same or more penalties called on them as most of the other teams. Okay, Chiefs fans, nuance is your friend here. It's not the amount of the penalties and the calls in the Chiefs' favor. It's the timing of them. Crucial calls. A missed holding call on a key third down late in the fourth quarter. A phantom pass interference call on the final drive of the game. Judgment calls like that. Subjective calls. A favorable spot on a key fourth down in the fourth quarter where the other team's quarterback clearly pushes the ball to the past the first down line, only to have two refs, each of them 10 yards away, come running in predictably and mark the ball just short of the first down. Yes, I'm talking about the Josh Allen run in the AFC title game. Of course, the most egregious example of Chiefs favoritism came back in the 2023 AFC title game. Chiefs were hosting the Bengals, and the only active quarterback who's beaten Mahomes in the playoffs, Joey Burrow. Joe beat Mahomes the year before this game, actually, the 22 AFC title game. And that next year, the NFL was like, nah, bruh, not today, Joe. Not happening again. Anybody remember the play in that game where the Chiefs failed to convert a third down? Both teams ran off the field for the oncoming punt. And then the refs were like, whoa, we can't have that. That play doesn't count. The head ref is stuttering, poorly attempting to explain away that the play doesn't count because they blew the play dead before the snap. Although none of the 22 players on the field for either side appeared to hear a whistle or indicate any knowledge that the play had been blown dead. Chiefs just got a do-over. Do that one over. And on that do-over, the Bengals stopped them again. But the refs called, you guessed it, a phantom pass interference. First down, Kansas City. By the way, that same head ref from that Chiefs-Bengals game, fellow by the name of Ron Torbert, he just happens to be head referee for this Super Bowl on Sunday. You think he doesn't know exactly what he's supposed to do? No communication will be needed. Of course, won't be the first time some shady stuff has gone down in the Superdome for a big game. Saints fans are like, you just had to go there. Well, yeah, I'm not going deep into it, but I had to go there because it's relevant. The NFL will do what it feels will bring in the most money. And in 2019, the Los Angeles Rams were bigger business for the big game than the little old Saints. Only in recent years have the Chiefs become the apple of the NFL's eye. And it actually happened before Taylor Swift joined the team. And speaking of Taylor Swift, I got to get this off my chest. I hate her. I hate her face. It's gotten to that point. I hate her face. Mouth wide open. It's sickening to me. It makes me throw up in my mouth. The NFL has pushed her down their own fans' throats with help from the media nerds, dominating their broadcasts, and I've just grown all kinds of sick of it over the past 2 years to the point where her face now induces vomiting. I hate her face. So now that that's off my chest, Arthur decided he had to come in and get in on this Chiefs action too. So regarding the main point, yes, the league not only wants the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, they want Taylor on the field with the winning team when it's over. We might even get a marriage proposal this year. Don't you all want to see that? The NFL is officially in the entertainment business, not the fair competition business. Their goal is to make as much money as they possibly can make, and she brings a lot of eyes to their product. It's not that hard to figure this out. So make your money, NFL. Keep making your money, Commissioner Fuckknuckle. But don't be surprised when people call out the integrity of your game. But that's not what I'm doing. No. To quote Tyrion Lannister, I'm not calling your integrity into question. I'm denying its existence altogether. How could I not? I watch the games. I watch the games. It reminds me of the very old days, very early days of professional wrestling. What I've learned of it anyway. Going all the way back to the 40s and the 50s. Now, I've always been a fan of pro wrestling. Watched the Royal Rumble this past weekend. Yeet. But in its early days, long ago, it was actually a real competition. But they figured they could draw bigger crowds and thus make more money if more entertaining, more flamboyant characters were featured as their champions, as opposed to simply featuring the best, most skilled wrestlers. So they began to rig the matches. But at first, both competitors were not involved. It was one wrestler, the one who knew the match was going to be fixed, working hand in hand with, the referee, to ensure the other wrestler, the one not involved in the work, lost. It was only later on that the promoters realized it'd be a whole lot easier and it'd run a whole lot smoother if both wrestlers were in on the work together. We're not there yet in the NFL, but we're past the point where this league employs fair, unbiased officiating, particularly involving the Kansas City Chiefs. The credibility is gone. The integrity is non-existent. But if there are NFC teams the NFL would be okay with beating the Chiefs in a Super Bowl, Philly is certainly one of those teams. The Eagles and the Rams. Large market in Philly. 5th or 6th largest market in the country. So on Sunday, it'll just be a matter of how badly they want her flat ass out there on that field after the game. Personally, I feel the Eagles need to win convincingly on Sunday. Make it too big to steal. Where have I heard that before? I don't know. As for a prediction, I ain't going against the machine. It'll be a good game, 2 best teams, but come on. We all know how this is going to end. The Chiefs will raise the Lombardi, one way or another, and Patrick Mahomes will win his 4th Super Bowl, and Kansas City will be the first team in NFL history to win 3 straight Super Bowls. God wills it. Goodell wills it. KC 27, Philly 24. Y'all be safe out there in New Orleans, but you Bayou balls and ballettes, be sure to show them all how we do that there down here. For Arthur, the Bayou Party Dog, I'm Ruddy Rutledge. He is a real good boy, and this is some Bayou football.